Please repeat. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet nashta prayeshva bhadreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttamah shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki krishnaya vasudevaya devaki nandanaya cha nanda gopakumaraya govindaya namo namaha. Hare Krishna. So somehow this screen is not very. So last week we discussed 3 chapters. And what was covered in those 3 chapters? Hiranyaksha. Hiranyaksha was killed by Varaha Bhagavan. Fight between first Lord Varaha appeared, then he is glorified by Brahmaji and other demigods. Then he goes at the bottom of the ocean to take Mother Earth out. As he was taking Mother Earth out, Hiranyaksha tried to stop him. And he challenged him. He called him, you are an animal, you are a jungle beast, forest beast. What are you doing in the water? This earth has been given to us. This belongs to us. How can you take it? And the Supreme Lord brought Mother Earth out of the water. He placed the earth in its position and he touched it. By his touch, the earth became stable in its position. And then Supreme Lord fought, or he enjoyed the Veer Ras. He enjoyed the Veer Ras with Hiranyaksha and he killed Hiranyaksha. As he killed Hiranyaksha, then the Supreme Lord went back to his abode. And Brahmaji says, where Akhand Utsavam. Akhand is non-breaker. Jagam, he went to his abode. Lokam, where Akhand Utsavam. Swayam Akhand Utsavam, where always there is some activities are happening. He went back to his abode. Yeah. So, so today we will cover 2 chapters. In the first chapter, chapter number 20, there is further questions by Vidurji to Maitreya Rishi. And then in the next chapter, 21, there is conversation between Kardama Muni and Manu Maharaj. The reason we are doing 2 chapters today is chapter 20 talks about the creation. Sarga and Visarga. Once again, same that we have already covered many times. So if you want, you can go and read yourself if you want to refresh your understanding of the creation or your knowledge of creation, not understanding. Understanding is provided by Krishna from within. Brahmaji said, no, those who says they know you, let them say they know you. As far as I am concerned, I know nothing. Manaso vapuso vacho. From my mind, from my word, right, and from my body, it is difficult. It is beyond me to describe your Vaibhav. Vaibhavam tava agochara. You cannot do that. So that's chapter 20. And chapter 21 is discussion and conversation between Kardama Rishi and Manu Maharaj. So this verse is from chapter number 21 and it is spoken by the Supreme Lord himself. So please repeat. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Na vai jatu mrishaiva syat.
Na vai jatu vrishaye syat.
Na vai jatu mrishaiva syat.
Na vai jatu vrishaye syat.
Prajadhyaksha mad arhanam.
Prajadhyaksha mad arhanam.
Prajadhyaksha mad arhanam.
Prajadhyaksha mad arhanam.
Bhavad vidheshva atitaram.
Bhavad vidheshva atitaram.
Bhavad vidheshva atitaram.
Bhavad vidheshva atitaram.
Mai samgrabhit atmana.
Mai samgrahithatmana.
Mai samgrabhit atmana.
Mai samgrahithatmana.
So this verse is spoken by the Supreme Lord himself. Yeah, it's spoken by the Supreme Lord himself. So it is good. We all will recite this verse today. Right? Let's try to recite. Okay, maybe let me first go through the meaning first, and then we'll recite with understanding. Word by word translation by Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
Please repeat na,
Na.
not,
Na.
vai,
Vai.
indeed,
Indeed.
jatu,
Jatu.
ever,
Ever.
mrisha,
Mrisha.
useless,
Useless.
eva,
Eva.
only,
Only.
syat,
Syat.
it may be,
It may be.
praja,
Praja.
of the living entities,
Of the living entities.
adhyaksha,
Adhyaksha.
O leader,
O leader.
mat arhanam,
Mat arhanam.
worship of me,
Worship of me.
bhavata vidheshu,
Bhavata vidheshu.
unto persons like you.
Unto persons like you.
Vidheshu also means somebody who is who is fully obeying the instructions. It has come from the word called vidhi. You know, some instructions are described to you and you following those instructions very diligently. So that vidheshwa, bhavat vidheshwa, you have followed those instructions properly, obediently, with full determination, with sincerity. Bhavat vidheshwa, persons, unto persons. Ati taram,
Atitaram.
entirely,
Entirely.
mai,
Mai.
on me,
On me.
sangrabhita,
Sangrahita.
are fixed.
Are fixed.
It is made up of two words, you know, garbh or grabhi. To, you know, garbh is you are holding something inside you. Sangrabhita. You are fixed. That's what Bhagavan is telling to Kardama Rishi. That you are totally fixed in your devotion, in your whatever activities you are performing, in your sadhana. Atmana,
Atmana.
of those
Of those
whose minds.
whose minds.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
The Lord continued,
The Lord continued.
my dear Rishi,
my dear Rishi,
O Lord of the
O Lord of
living entities,
living entities,
for those
for those
who serve me
who serve me
in devotion
in devotion
by worshipping me,
by worshiping me,
especially persons like you
especially persons like you
who have given up
who have given up
everything
everything
unto me.
unto me.
There is never any
There is never any
question of
question of
frustration.
frustration.
So indirectly, frustration means you trying to get something, you don't get it, then you get frustrated. So Supreme Lord is assuring Kardama Rishi, and in his assurance, he is assuring all of us that there is not at all any doubt of being frustrated. Someone like you who has performed with so much sincerity. Otherwise, also he says, Bhagavad Gita, what is that famous verse? Please repeat. Neha bhi kramanashosti
Nehavikramanashosti
pratyavayo na vidyate
pratyavayo na vidyate
swalpam api asya dharmasya
swalpamapi dharmasya
swalpam api asya dharmasya
swalpam asya dharmasya
trayate mahato bhaya.
rayate mahato.
So Supreme Lord is saying, on this path, Arjun, there is no diminution or there is no loss on this path of Bhakti Yoga. Right? Swa alpam, even a small amount of devotional activity performed saves us from the greatest dangers. So such is the power or potency of the devotional service. Swa alpam, alp means very, very, very minor, just a little bit of. So that's the assurance of Supreme. Guarantee. How you give guarantee. So that's the guarantee by Supreme. Okay. So let's come back to this verse. Now you understand the meaning of this verse. In this verse, what the Supreme Lord is saying is Navai Jatum Nishevasya. Mad Arhanam, remember that word first, is those who are worshipping me. Those who are worshipping me, for them, there is no possibility of Mrishev. Mrishev also means useless. Right? It won't go useless. There is word Mrasha word is used in Ramayana also. Vachan Mrasha hoi hamar. Lord Ram is telling Naradji that I am giving you assurance. You have come to ask for hit. Jehi vidin nath ho hi hit mora. You have come to ask me that, my dear Lord, please do that from which I will get benefit. I will be favored. Then Lord Ram said, you have come to ask for favor, but no. Jehi vidhi hot param hit narad. You are asking for favor and I will do you greatest favor. See, such is the mercy of the Lord. And then Lord says, Vachan namrasha hui. This is my promise, Narad. It will not go in vain. So this is assurance by the Supreme Lord that Kardama Rishi is telling Kardama Rishi, whoever performs devotional service, there is no chance of frustration. Right? So this is Lord's promise to you. Now let's recite this verse. I think we all can recite one by one. Please start from. Who wants to start from this end? We will. Start.
Na vai jatu mrisevasya
Na vai jatu mrishayvasya
Prajadhyaksha mad arhanam
Prajadhyaksha mad arhanam
Bhavad vidhesva atitaram
Bhavad vidheshva apitaram
Mai sangrihvitatmanam
Mai sangrahita atmanam
Nave jatu mrisheva
Vai jatu mrishayvasya
Prajadhyaksha madharnamam
Prajadhyaksha mad arhanam
Bhavada videshu atitaram
Bhavad vidheshva atitaram
मयि संग्रहीत आत्मनं
मयि संग्रभित आत्मना
न वै जातु वृषैस्वस्यात्
न वै जातु वृषैव स्यात्
प्रजाध्यक्षमदर्हणम्
प्रजाध्यक्षमदर्हणम्
भवद्विदेष्व अतितराम्
भवद्विधेष्व अतितराम्
मयि संग्रही आत्मना
मयि संग्रभित आत्मना
न वै जातु वृषैव स्यात्
न वै जातु वृषैव स्यात्
प्रजाध्यक्षमदर्हणम्
प्रजाध्यक्षमदर्हणम्
भवद्विदेष्व अतितराम्
भवद्विधेष्व अतितराम्
मयि संग्रहितात्मना
मयि संग्रभित आत्मना माताजी
न वै जातु मृषैव स्यात्
न वै जातु वृषैव स्यात्
प्रजाध्यक्षमदर्हणम्
प्रजाध्यक्षमदर्हणम्
भवद्विद्वेष्व अतितराम्
भवद्विधेष्वातितराम्
मयि संग्रहितात्मना
मयि संग्रभित आत्मना
न वै जातु मृषैव स्यात्
न वै जातु वृषैव स्यात् प्रजाध्यक्षमदर्हणम् भवद्विधेष्व अतितराम् मयि संग्रहित आत्मना. Okay, purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki, please hear. Even if he has some desires, one engaged in the service of the Lord is never frustrated. Those engaged in his service are called Sakam and Akam. Those who approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead with desires for material enjoyment are called Sakam, and those devotees who have no material desires for sense gratification but serve the Supreme Lord out of spontaneous love for him are called Akam. Sakam devotees are divided into four classes: those in distress, those in need of money, the inquisitive, and the wise. Someone worships the Supreme Lord because of bodily or mental distress. Someone else worships the Supreme Lord because he is in need of money. Someone else worships the Lord out of inquisitiveness to know him as he is. And someone wants to know the Lord as a philosopher can know him. See, these are all considered desires. These are all called Sakam Bhakti by the research work of his wisdom. Our ultimate aim is to get to the platform of Akam. Even the desire, even the inquisitiveness to know him should be changed to inquisitiveness to serve. And when you serve, he reveals himself. Then there is no need to know. There is no need to reverse engineer his activities and then trying to know him. Isn't it? That's what we do. We reverse engineer and then try to know him. We just serve him and then he will reveal himself from the heart. Yeah? There is no frustration for any of these four classes of men, by the way. Each is endowed with the desired result of his worship. Okay, let's do Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatirmirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Urmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padkamlam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitantam Sajivam Savadaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namastute Bhakta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarobhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Bhuter Mahadbhir Yaima Puro Vibho Nirmaya Shete Yadamusha Purusha Bhunte Gunansho Dashisho Dashatmakam Solam Kasrashta Bhagavan Vachamsi Me Shri Krishna Sharanam Sharanaagatam Katha Amritam Satat Pibatam Bhakti Vedanta Marga Panthanam Sarvaloka Rishide Janma Prasannam Sarvaloka Rishide Janma Prasannam. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji and Mataji. Please pray for me. May the Supreme Lord decorate my tongue. May the right words come at the right time. And may we are truly able to glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev, and serve all the devotees. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So, like I was saying, this verse is from chapter number 21. So what had happened was in chapter number 13. Chapter number 13, Brahmaji was doing the creation like previously from 10th chapter. Sanat Kumar's Lord Shiva, then his mind-born sons. And then in the 13th chapter, Swayambhu Manu and Mata Shatrupa. And then they submitted to Brahmaji and they asked Brahmaji that please tell us how can we serve you. So Brahmaji was very pleased with them, with Swayambhu Manu and Shatrupa Mata, and he said to them that you have very obediently asked me how you can serve me, and this attitude, I am very pleased with this attitude. And then Brahmaji told Manu Maharaj and Mother Shatrupa that you should increase the progeny. So he gave them 3 instructions. He said to Manu Maharaj, generate children like you. Number 1. Number 2, he said, rule the earth. Yeah. Shas dharmena gam. Shas as in rule, shasha. Dharmena, religiously, gam as in earth. Number 2. And then he says, yagnehi purusham yaja. By sacrifice, he did not mean that, those homa. He said yagna means sacrifice. By sacrifice, you serve the Supreme Lord. Like I say, you coming here, this is your sacrifice. And remember Krishna's promise, Swa alpam api asya dharmasya. Just this level, and that this is today's verse also. Na jatu nrishaiva, navai jatu nrishaiva syat. There is no frustration. Yeah. So he gave 3 instructions to Manu Maharaj, and then Manu Maharaj asked from Brahmaji that where is Mother Earth? Where will they live? The progeny that I can create, there is no place of residence for them. And then Brahmaji looked. And then when he did not find, he could not see Mother Earth, then he started thinking, and from his nose, a little creature appeared. And then he spoke to Maitreji, then spoke to Vidurji about the fight between Lord Varaha and Hiranyaksha, that he went to take the earth. And then Vidurji asked further questions. And that's how this change of direction took place in between. That's how we went a little bit different direction, and we spoke about the appearance of Lord Varaha and the fight between Hiranyaksha and the pregnancy of Mother Diti. So that's how that topic came in between. Right? But now we are going back to the creation. Going back to the creation, how Manu Maharaj did the creation. So now after, in the previous chapter, after the fight between Lord Varaha and Hiranyaksha was discussed, Hiranyaksha was killed. Now in the 20th chapter, now Shaunaka Rishi are asking questions from Sut Goswami. So they are asking questions from Sut Goswami that Mahim Tishtam Adhyasya Sote Swayam Bhuvo Manu. Mahim, as in earth, Pratishtham Adhyasya, after the earth is placed in its position. Saute, O Sut Goswami, Swayam Bhuva Manu. Manu, who is Swayam Bhuva Manu, the very first Manu, what did he do? Because when he said, Brahmaji said, you increase the population, earth wasn't there. So now they go back to the point, they're saying earth has been placed. Now after the earth is placed in its place, Swayam Bhuva Manu, and they are asking, Kani Anvatishtat Dwarani Margaya Avara Janmana. Kani, what did he do? Dwarani, as in the ways. You know, as you say, door. Dwar means door, but it also means ways, right? Margaya. Margaya as in explain them how to reach that door, basically. Put it this way. Yeah. Our Janmana, the people who were generated, who were born afterwards. Now, how did Manu Maharaj took care of them? How did he guide them after the earth was placed in its position? Right? How did Manu Maharaj guide the living entities, or how he guided them to which path? To liberation. And Srila Prabhupada says that it is so wonderful that this material earth or this planet is created for us to enjoy. Right? Because we had desires, so this place is created for our to fulfill our enjoyment. But at the same time, the Lord makes an arrangement through Manu Maharaj. You know, Manu Smriti, Manu Samhita, all these instructions. So the purpose is, you want to enjoy, okay, go enjoy, but follow the instructions of Manu Maharaj as per Manu Samhita, as per Manu Smriti, so that you can go back to Godhead. So the original instruction from Manu Maharaj was, which applies to every one of us. Somehow it got lost along the way. So the instruction was very clear. Generate the children like you. Right? That means first the father has to be trained, the father has to be trained like Manu Maharaj. Only then they can generate children like themselves. And then they will live their life as per religious principles, and they will go back to Godhead. So this question was asked by Shaunaka Rishi to Sut Goswami. Question number 1. Please remember this question. What did Manu Maharaj do? And then the second question they are asking from Sut Goswami in the 20th chapter is that Vidur, he is saying Shatta Mahabhagavata. Shatta Mahabhagavata Krishnasya Ekantika Suhrit. Shatta Vidurji also called Shatta. He is Mahabhagavat. He had done he had gone to all the places of pilgrimage. Right? Krishnasya Ekantika Suhrit. He was totally relying on Krishna. He was fully surrendered to Krishna. And his surrender was to such an extent that he abandoned his elder brother and his sons who refused to follow the instructions of Krishna. Very important point that I want to highlight here is what in the question they are issuing an instruction. They are saying that he left Hastinapur because Dhritarashtra and his sons did not follow the instructions of Krishna. They are not saying he left Hastinapur because he was disrespected by Duryodhan. He was abused by Duryodhan. Duryodhan called him Dasi Putra, son of a maid servant. How dare you talk to us like this? Because Vidurji was telling Dhritarashtra that the path, the sin, it's himself, the sin personified has come into your house. Throw him out. That's what Vidurji was telling Dhritarashtra, if you remember. And Duryodhan heard him say that. And then Duryodhan entered the room and he said, how dare you speak like this? You are a Dasi Putra. Throw him out. So Vidurji's was only petition to Dhritarashtra was, Lord Krishna is here. He has come as a Shanti Dut. We should listen to his instructions. But Shaunakadi Rishi is saying that Vidur, who is Mahabhagavat, who was totally surrendered to Krishna, and he abandoned his elder brother, he abandoned the protection of his elder brother, as if he was protected by Dhritarashtra, because they refused to obey the instructions of Krishna. And then they further glorify Vidurji. They say that Vidurji, who was the son of Vyasdev. Vidurji is also son of Vyasdev, by the way. Pandu is also son of Vyasdev. And Dhritarashtra is also son of Vyasdev. And Shukdev Goswami is also son of Vyasdev. Right? Dhritarashtra is no different. He's son of Vyasdev. we forget this point. Right? So he says he was son of Vyasdev and he was not inferior. He was not inferior to Vyasdev in any sense. Because he was his son and he was so surrendered to Krishna. And he's saying he was such an exalted devotee, Sarvatmana Shrita Krishnam. He was totally Ashrita Krishnam. He was fully dependent on Krishna. And not just Krishna. Tat Paransh Cha Api Anuvrata. Tat Paransh. The devotee of Krishna. He was even so much attached and willing to serve to the devotees of Krishna. Not just Krishna. He was such a great devotee. And then as if Sut Goswami says, then what do you want? You are glorifying Vidurji, what do you want me to say? They say, we want to know Kin Anva Prichan Maitreyam. What else did Vidurji ask from Maitreyaji? Please tell us. And then as if Sutji is asking, why do you want to know? They say, Tayo Samvadato Suta. Right? Their Samvad, those two exalted personalities speaking to each other must have given rise to Pravritta Hi Amalah Katha. The conversation between two exalted personalities would have given rise to Amal, sinless, jisme koi mal nahi hai, without any contamination, Katha, pastimes of the Supreme Lord. And that Supreme Lord, from whose feet Mother Ganges is emanating. Apo Gangaya Hi Agnir. Right? From whose lotus feet the Gangaji comes, emanates. And that Gangaji, what does she do? She washes all the sins. So those two devotees, when they spoke, I'm sure their conversations would have emanated some Hari Katha. Right? And that Katha would have been related to Padambuja Ashraya. would be related to the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of God, if the Gangaji emanating from those lotus feet can purify all the sinful persons. Agnir Hare Padambuja Ashraya, then the katha, then the pastimes discussed by those two devotees must be so great. So we want to know, we want to hear more about it. Right? And they say, who? Please speak to us more and more. Konu tripet Hari Leelamritam Piben. As if Sut Goswami is asking, how much more you want to hear? And they saying the Lord's pastime are so relishing. Konu tripet, who can be rasagna? Somebody who knows the ras, who understands the taste. Right? Rasagna, or who has developed the taste. That person, how can that person be tripti, as in satisfied, just by drinking that nectar, or not, or satisfied to the extent that they don't want to drink anymore? No. Please bring more. Please bring more. Ye dil mange more. Yeah. So that is the condition of the devotees. So they say, please tell us more. So this is the background. This is the context. You see the conversation. These are the kind of questions they are asking. And the whole point is, when we hear these, we try to develop that same mood, same taste. You ask someone, I tell you example, my personal example. I heard this person, his son came from a village and he got a good job in the city. You can ask him about his son's achievement every day. Every day you can ask him many times, and he will describe the whole story from the day he sent his son to high school and he passed high school with such a big marks. Then he went to city, how he got a job, how he bought his first house, his car, and till date he has got 2 promotions, he's in this position and whatnot. Every day he can repeat the same story every day non-stop. Then why can't we repeat the same story about Krishna? That is the mood we want to inculcate. Cultivation. If you understand, the cultivator, when it goes in the land, if you see the farming, it goes and it really goes, usko mat dete hain zameen ko, bhumi ko. The whole land is literally, churned. All the weeds come out. And then you drop a seed and then little bit of water, and then you see the fruits and the plant is so nicely growing. So that's the whole point of hearing these katha. You cultivate your heart. These katha are meant to be like cultivating your heart. And then as you chant the holy name, your bhakti lata, just the sprout goes all the way unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality. That is the mood we want to inculcate. Cultivate the. So Shaunaka Rishi, they asked these questions, and then finally they said, we want to know more about the conversation between Vidurji and Maitreyaji. And Sut Goswami tells them that Vidurji then asks from Maitreya Rishi that after, he actually asked that how Brahma, who is Prajapati, how did he, after he had his mind-born sons appointed as Prajapati, how did he create or expanded the universe? That was the question they asked. And now as he asked that, so Maitreya Rishi spoke to Vidurji right from beginning. Sarg, the primary creation, how the Supreme, the Mahavishnu is lying in Karanodakshaya ocean, and then the Pradhan came out of this body, then Pradhan turned into Mahat Tattva, and then the Supreme Lord glanced at it, and then the modes, agitation of the modes, then the 4 fives came, 5 Tanmatra, 5 knowledge acquiring senses, Panch Mahabhut, and 5 working senses. And then in some places they say these 5, 20, some places they say also the 5 demigods, 5 devata of these adhisthata of these elements. So all of this came, and then living entities, then they started appearing. So you can read this chapter on your own, right? And then towards the end of the chapter, it says that also many Manus came. In Brahma's day, there are 14 manvantars. So every manvantar has one Manu during the daytime, and like this you say. So that concludes the chapter number 20. But the mood is, by the beginning of the mood that you want to say is you want to hear more about Krishna Katha. Right? And main important question was, when the earth was placed in its position, how did Manu Maharaj took care of the future people who were born later, and then how did he look after them, and how did he show them the way to go back to Godhead. Dwarani Margaya Avar Janmana, who were our as in later, who were born later, how did he show them the way and the door? Right? Through this way, you get out of this loop, and you can go back to God. How did Manu Maharaj did that? So now in this chapter, Vidurji then asks from Maitreyaji that I heard that Manu Maharaj, he had a daughter, Devhuti, who was married to Kardama Rishi. So I want to know about Manu Maharaj's children. So Maitreya Rishi starts telling him that Manu Maharaj, he had 5 children, 2 sons. What are their names? Uttanpad and Priyavat. 2 sons and 3 daughters. Mother Devhuti, Akuti and Prasuti. Devhuti was married to Prajapati Kardama. They are all called Prajapati by the way. So Prajapati is basically who is taking care of a certain number of people. Right? You are also Prajapati for your family because you are taking, they are under your protection like that. So 3 daughters. Devhuti was married to Kardama Rishi. Akuti was married to Ruchi, and Prasuti was married to Daksh Prajapati. And Daksh Prajapati's daughter was Sati, who was married to Lord Shiva. So now in this chapter, chapter 21 focuses on conversation between Kardama Rishi and Manu Maharaj. That is the title of the chapter. So Maitreya Rishi tells Vidurji that now Brahmaji had instructed his sons that you go and increase the progeny. So he also instructed Kardama Rishi that you increase the progeny, like he instructed all his sons. Right? So first he instructed Kardama Rishi, and Kardama Rishi, he went on the banks of Mother Saraswati. He went to the bank of Mother Saraswati and he performed devotional service for 10,000 years. Yeah. Tatah samadhi yuktena kriya yogena kardama. Tatah samadhi yuktena kriya yogena kardama. Yeah. So Kardama Rishi, when he went for performing the penance, samadhi yukt, he was equipoised, he was meditating, kriya yogena. So very important point. He did not just go and sit there. He was performing other devotional activities also. He was not just sitting at one way. He was performing arti. He was performing homa, agnihotra. Right? He was taking his bath. He was offering puja. He was getting flowers. Yeah. Samadhi yogena. Samadhi yuktena. Kriya yogena. Right? Kardama. And then Bhaktaya Hari, right? By performing devotional service towards who? Supreme Lord Hari. How, and the Supreme Lord's, his characteristics are also mentioned here, who is Prapanna, yeah? Prapanna Varad Ashusham. Prapanna as in surrendered. Yeah? Who people who are surrendered to the Supreme Lord, he very easily get pleased and he gives them lots of boons, Varad, who can be easily pleased, and he gives them the word. Yeah? So in this one, like I was saying, he was just not sitting there. He was performing all the devotional activities. So it does not mean we just go and sit. Right? Similarly, like we preparing bhoga, you performing arati, you performing flowers. So like this, Kardama Rishi was doing. And he performed that for 10,000 years. And if we perform that service for 10,000 years, then Maitreya Rishi tells Vidurji that Tato Tavat Prasanno Bhagavan. Yeah. Pushkaraksha Krite Yuge. And by seeing Kardama Rishi performing that devotional service, the Supreme Lord got very pleased. Who is called Pushkar Akshay, who has lotus eyes. He became very pleased and he came to see him himself. Yeah. So here I want to highlight another important point. Kardama Rishi is performing all these devotion service. You all, if you know about Shri Rukmini Vitthal in our Maharashtra, the Supreme Lord, he performed a pastime. Right? Sometimes there is a tendency of, in the household itself, that I want to, in the household or in various ashram we have a tendency, I want to drop everything and I want to do my service. I want to go and serve the Lord. And we leave our responsibilities back. Right? Here, Kardama Muni is performing this, and people might use this example. Look, Kardama Rishi performed this service, and Supreme Lord came to see him. Right? But this is not just that. In this pastime, if you have heard it, very nice, relish it again. If you haven't heard this, please listen carefully. In India, in a state called Maharashtra, we had this person, his name was Pundalik. He got married, he got his wife, and he also had his old parents staying with him. But he did not like to look after his parents. He did not want to serve them. Once he decided to go to Kashi. You know where is Kashi? Uttar Pradesh. Yeah? It's a pilgrimage where Ganga, Jamuna, Saraswati, all these three rivers come.
That's in Prayag.
How far is it?
Probably 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours.
Closer.
Yeah. So, put it this way: when you go to Kashi, Prayag, you go to both. So he was going to Kashi, Prayag. Let's say. So he was going to Kashi, Prayag. His parents wanted to go with him, but he refused to take them with him. And instead, he took his wife with him, and they went there. They went there, and on the way, they stayed in an ashram. The ashram belonged to a rishi. His name was Kokut Rishi. So they stayed in that ashram, and then Pundalik was so curious to go and take darshan, to go to the place of pilgrimage. He asked this rishi that how far is this place? And then he said, I don't know. I don't know where this place is. And Pundalik was like, what kind of rishi you are? What kind of sannyasi you are? You don't know where Kashi Prayag is? He said, no, I don't know. So Pundalik kind of joked about it, and he gave him a different look. Then the night came and everybody was sleeping. Then in the night, Pundalik heard some voices. He heard some voices, he woke up. As he woke up, he saw three beautiful women coming into his ashram. Their clothes were very dirty. They came and they started cleaning his ashram. They started cleaning his ashram. They cleaned everything, cleaned the bathroom, kitchen, courtyard, everything. When they cleaned everything, they went into the prayer room and they came out, and now they were beautifully dressed. All their dirty clothes were now nicely cleaned. So Pundalik was watching them. He went and fell onto their feet. And he said, who are you? And why have you come here? And they said, we are Ganga, Jamuna, and Saraswati. Personified, those three rivers. And he asked them, why have you come here? They say that during the daytime, a lot of sinful people come and they take a dip in our waters. And because of their sins, we get dirty, our clothes got dirty. But this Rishi is so pure, so powerful. We come here by serving here, our sins have washed away. The sins that we took, those people coming, those sins have been washed away. This Rishi is so exalted. And as Pundalik heard that, he was amazed. And then he was thinking to himself that I was thinking he's some kind of non-rishi or someone. He doesn't even know where Kashi Prayag is. And I was going to take a dip in the Prayag, where the confluence of these three rivers. And those three rivers are coming here in person to clean his place. And then he asked those three Matajis that what good this person has done. And they said this person, Rishi, Kukut Rishi, he had served his parents like anything. He was so devoted to his parents, he served them so nicely. He performed his grasta duty so wonderfully. That is why he is so exalted. And he performed those duties without any motive. His whole intention was to serve them, however nicely he can serve them. And just by hearing that, he realized his mistake. He went back to home next day, brought his parents, took his parents to the place of pilgrimage, and then went back. He went back, now he started serving his parents so nicely. He was serving them with full heart. And as he was serving them full heart, it so happened that one day there was a argument between Krishna and Mata Rukmini in Dwarka. Some argument happened. Lord Krishna, he likes to, play the games. One day he told Rukmini, why did you marry me? After having 10 children, he said, why did you marry me? You can even go back now. And she fainted. What Krishna is talking? I'm married after 10 children. Krishna. This is in Bhagavatam. Krishna saying you can go back now. If you want, you can still go back. You change your mind. So fight happened between Mother Rukmini and Krishna. And Mother Rukmini then left. She left Dwarka and she went to the forest. Dandirvan. Dandirvan province? नहीं भांडीरवन तो हमारे वृंदावन में है वो दांडीरवन क्या from where they take Vittal Yatra, so Dandi in Maharashtra it is. So she went there. She went into the forest. Now Lord Krishna also came looking for Mother Rukmini. And as he was there in that forest, so Pundalik's house was nearby. And Krishna thought, let me go and take darshan of my devotee. See here, Bhagavan is coming to see Kardama Rishi. Bhagavan also came to see Dhruv Maharaj. Madhur Vanam Bhritya Didrikshaya Gata. He came to Madhuvan when he is one of the 12 forests of Vrindavan. Bhagavatam it says that Madhur Vanam Bhritya Didrikshaya. To see my servant Krishna came himself. So here Lord Krishna himself thought that maybe let me go and see Pundalik. So Krishna goes to Pundalik's house and he was standing on the door and Krishna knocked as etiquette, you don't just enter the house. Krishna knocked at the door and Pundalik is asked, who is he? And Krishna said, I have come to see you, I am Krishna. And then Pundalik was so busy serving, he was nursing his parents, he was serving them. He was so busy in the service, he picked up a brick and he threw the brick onto the door and he told Krishna to stand on the brick. Brick is like offering a seat in the village tradition. There was no chairs there, so brick is like a chair. So he threw a brick, he said, you can wait on this brick. And Pundalik was so busy serving his parents, a lot of time he spent was nursing his parents, and by the time he realized, Supreme Lord is waiting on the door. And then Pundalik went out and he paid his obeisances to the Supreme Lord and he said, my dear Lord, please forgive me. Please forgive me that you had to wait for so long. And while Krishna was waiting, Mother Rukmini now started searching for Krishna and she also came and stood next to Krishna. So both of them are standing there. And Pundalik turned around and now he went and he's apologizing to Krishna. And he's saying, my dear Lord, please forgive me. And Krishna said, no, I'm actually more pleased with you. See, that's the point I'm trying to highlight. He said, I'm even more pleased with you that you are performing your duty so nicely, so sincerely. You are taking care of your parents, you are serving them. Ask for a boon. Rather, you ask for a boon. And then Pundalik said, my dear Lord, if you want to give a boon, please stay on this earth so that all other people, they can get your darshan. And that's when Supreme Lord decided to stay on this earth. And in Maharashtra, the brick is called wheat. And that's how Supreme Lord became Vitt. Vittal. There's a very nice bhajan, but I can't sing that. Maybe Marathi, it sings that. But there's a very nice bhajan about Bhagwan Vittal. Yeah. So the point that I'm saying, Prabhuji Mataji, it is not just that you have to leave your house. You have, maybe Vittal Bhagwan can come here. Why can't he come here?
Maybe he's already listening.
He's already listening, right? So he will come. If you do your duties nicely, you don't have to leave your house. Even Brahmaji, when he is praying, glorifying the Supreme Lord, Brahmaji says to the Supreme Lord, Sthane Sthita. Sthane Sthita means where you are, staying at that same place, you can perform devotional service. You don't need to go anywhere else. Or my Guru Maharaj said that also means wherever there is Krishna Katha, just go there and stay there, hear Krishna Katha, then move on, Sthane Sthita, wherever there is Krishna. Yeah. So now Supreme Lord, he came to see Kardama Rishi. Yeah. He came to see Kardama Rishi. As Kardama Rishi saw the Supreme Lord, he stood up. He started glorifying, offering the praise to the Supreme Lord. And he fell on the ground. Right? And he's saying that, my dear Lord, today the my eyes, Sam Siddhayam. He says, Sam Siddhayam Akshanos Tav Darshananna. The Siddhi, the true success of the eyes is to be able to take your darshan, my dear Lord. Yeah? Because today I have got the darshan of your darshans from these eyes, so that is the success of having the eyes. Otherwise, these eyes are, gopis are saying, these are like, eyes on the peacock feather. You see the eyes on the peacock feather, if you look carefully, they look like eyes, but they are not eyes. If with these eyes, we don't take darshan of the Supreme. So Kardama Rishi stood up and he glorified the Supreme Lord. He says, my dear Lord, today by taking your darshan, my eyes, the purpose of my eyes has been successful. Right? And then he started saying that, Ye mayayate hat med sapa padar vindam bhav sindhu potam. Yeah. Upasate kam lavayate sham rashish kama nanirye piyesu. He says, my dear Lord, the purpose of my eyes, the real success of my eyes is to get your darshan. And then he goes on to say that by your maya, by your external potency, my dear Lord, people whose intelligence has been killed, hat has been killed, yeah, forcibly, whose intelligence has been destroyed, right? Your lotus feet, padar vindam bhav sindhu potam, your lotus feet are like a ship. They are like a ship. Getting on the ship, they can cross over this ocean of nations. But because their intelligence has been forcibly stolen, forcibly taken away, right? What they do? They are worshipping you to fulfill their desires. Upasate kam lavai desha. They are worshipping you for fulfilling their desires. But my dear Lord, you are so merciful. Those desires can be fulfilled in the hellish planets too. But because they are worshipping you for fulfilling their material desires, you still fulfill their desires. You still fulfill their desires even here, even though those desires can be fulfilled. And then he goes on to talk about himself. He says, I am not different from that because I also have a desire. What was the instruction given to him from his father? Increase the progeny, increase the population. So Kardama Rishi, he did not go out looking for a wife. Instead, he went and started performing the penance for 10,000 years. But he had this desire in his heart. Right? And now he says to the Supreme Lord, Tatha sachaham parivodu kama Samanashilam grahadhe grahamedhidhenum. So he says, my dear Lord, tatha sachaham, I am not different. Paribodu kama, I also have a desire. Because I want to have a family. I also have a desire, I want to have a family. So I'm asking you, I'm praying to you that please arrange a wife for me who is Samana Sheelam. I tell you, there was one friend of mine, and he's like, we were talking about his son of marriageable age, or he was looking for a girlfriend. So I gave him this verse. I sent him this verse. I said, tell your son to recite this verse. He wants a girlfriend, Krishna will arrange a girlfriend for him. What is the problem? Kardama Rishi prayed to the Supreme Lord to get a wife. So he will also, Krishna will arrange that. There is nothing wrong. You want to have you have some desires, you fulfill your desires, but Krishna, you go through Krishna, don't directly do anything. And by doing that, you recite this verse. I said you recite this verse every day, chant 2 rounds of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and then you will get married. I don't know what happened, but this is what I gave you. So he said to the Supreme Lord. And he says that Durashaya Kama Angripasya. I also have a Durasha. Durasha means Suasha is good hope. But he calling himself, I also have a Durasha. So I have Upayinam Moolam Ashesh Moolam. Very important. And the reason I give you that example is because Kardama Rishi is saying, you are the root, Moolam. You are the root of everything. And Ashesh Moolam. There is nothing else which root does not come from you. Or there is nothing else which does not belong to you. Right? So everything is coming from you. If everything is coming from you, so I have come to you. Upayinam. Upayinam Moolam Ashesh Moolam Durashaya Kama Dughangripasya. So I have come to your lotus feet that, my dear Lord, please fulfill this desire of mine. And then he said, I know in this world, everyone is hit by, they are attacked by the desires. And I am not different from them. Right? And now, as if the question is asked, if everyone has a desire, then how does the devotee save themselves? You also have a desire. How do devotees, how we say dodge the bullet? Have you heard that? Dodge the bullet. Right? So bullet of a desire is coming. How do they dodge that? So then Kardama Rishi answers that. This is a very beautiful verse. Please sing with me. Okay, you repeat. Lokanscha loka nugatam pashumscha.
Lokanscha loka
Nugatam pashumscha. Lokanscha loka nugatam pashumscha. Pashumsha hitva shritaste charanat patram. Hitva shritaste charanat patram. Parasparam tvad gunavad sidhu. Parasparam tat gunavad sidhu. Piyush nirya pit deha dharma. So here now Kardama Rishi is saying that how the devotees. So he says, my dear Lord, your devotees. So first he's saying, Lokanscha loka nugatam pashumscha. Very important step. He says people are following the people like with the beastly mentality. You got a car, I want to get a better car than you. You got a house, I want to get a better house than you. You got this jewelry, I want to get a more expensive jewelry. This is called beast mentality. So he says, my dear Lord, people are following people like this with that beastly mentality. Yeah. And he says, aham, in other words, he says, aham cha loka nugata vahami. I am also one of them. See, Kardama Rishi, he is saying, I am also one. This is called humble servant. Last time we discussed, this is called humbleness. Supreme Lord is standing in front of him, and this is how he is glorifying the Supreme Lord, and he is putting himself in the right spot. So he says, my dear Lord, in this world, people with beastly mentalities are following the people. But then how does devotee protect them? So he says, Hitva Shritaste Charnat Patram. At Patram is like an umbrella. So your feet is like an umbrella. Hitva. So they have given away those thoughts, or they have given away that association, and they have taken the shelter under the umbrella of your lotus. Hitva Shitaste Charnat Patram. Okay, and then the question is asked, okay, they have taken shelter under the umbrella. Now, how do they continuously protect themselves? You have come to the ashram to attend the program, but then how do you engage? What is the next step? First step is you come and engage. So then Kardama Rishi says, then the next step is what they are doing is Parasparam Gunavad Sidhu. They are discussing between themselves your guna and your pastimes. Sidhu as in nectar. So your nectarian pastimes and your nectarian qualities, they are discussing between themselves. Piyush, as in they are drinking that nectar by discussing your pastimes, and by doing this, they are able to avoid from this beastly mentality of following other people's. Yeah? Is that clear now? Yeah? So this is how devotees, this is the formula, Kardama Rishi says. And then he says, my dear Lord, the time factor is very powerful. He's still glorifying the Supreme Lord. First, he realizes his own position, and he says, my dear Lord, the time factor is very powerful. And you create this universe, the whole universe, from your external energy. And after creating this universe, like a spider, you create, you protect, and then you also swallow it. Like a spider swallow the net, spider net, as it creates. Right? So similarly, you do that also. But you have made all this arrangement for allowing the people like us to fulfill their desires, and what they do, and get rid of their karma and then go back to God. So this is a facility you have created. Right? But you are so kind that even in this environment, if someone performs a small amount of service, alpiyasi, small amount of devotion service, you give them so many benedictions. Yeah. Namami abhikshanam namaniya pada. Namami abhikshanam namaniya pada. Sarojamalpi yasikam varsham. Sarojamalpi yasikam varsham. Oh my dear Lord, namami abhikshanam. I again and again bow down to your lotus feet, which are worthy of pain. Namniya pada, which are worthy of surrender, which are actually only worthy of to be surrendered. Right? And you are so grateful that alpiyasi, just by a small devotional service, you get so pleased. Rather, you worship as in rain. You rain them with so many benedictions. So I pay my obeisances to. Now Kardama Rishi stops speaking, and Maitreya Rishi tells Viduruji that after Supreme Lord heard all these glorifications from Kardama Rishi, and all these glorifications Kardama Rishi makes one more. He says those glorifications are nirvaya likam. They are not duplicacy, they are not hypocrisy type of glorification. Nirvaya likam. Yeah. Yeah. After hearing all of that, the Supreme Lord now speaks. Shri Bhagavan Vacha. So Shri Bhagavan speaks to Kardama Rishi, and he says, Kardama Rishi, I knew what was in your heart. I knew when you started offering these prayers, and I've already made an arrangement. And that's where today's verse comes. Na vai jatu mrishayvasya prajadhyaksha mad arhanam bhavad vidheshva atitaram mai samgrabhit atmana. See, yours, remember this. You're able to recite so much. So Supreme Lord tell Kardama Rishi that I already knew your heart. And let me assure you, Praja Adhyaksha, O Prajapati, O leader of the living entities, let me assure you that even a small amount of service performed, worship performed to me, does not give frustration to the performer of the service. Yes, and you have performed this service with so much heart and soul for such a long time. So I have already arranged for that. And as if now Kardama Rishi asked, my dear Lord, what have you arranged? He says, I have arranged everything. And 3 days from now, 3 days from today, Parashvo, you know how we say Paraso? So Supreme Lord is saying, Parashvo Ayasseti Didrikshastvam Parashvo Dharma Kovida. He says, from today, the 3rd day from today, Manu Maharaj will come to see you, and he will bring his daughter. His daughter's name is Devhuti, who is of marriageable age. And as per your prayers, you are asking Samana Sheela. Yes, she has same qualities, same thought process that you have, right? So Manu Maharaj, whose daughter is marriageable age, her name is Devhuti, and 3rd day from today, Parashvo, he will bring his daughter for you. Yeah, he say Manu Syandanam Asthaya. Manu Maharaj will come on his chariot. And Manu Maharaj, who is the ruler of the whole earth at this point of time, he will come with his wife, Shatrupa, and with his mother, with his daughter, Devhuti. They will come here 3rd day from now. And as the Supreme Lord spoke to this, and he told Kardama Rishi that not just this, from your wife, see, this is the potency of our scriptures. He says, from your wife, you will have 9 daughters. And those 9 daughters would get married to Marichadi Rishi. He did not name all of them, but they got married to Marich, then Vasisht Rishi, then Pulast Rishi, right? And then who's Anasuya? Atri Rishi. So like they see, all these daughters. He said, you will have 9 daughters. And he says, not such that, Saha Aham, me myself, with my kala, with my Swa Ansha Kalaya, in my plenary portion, I will appear as your son. I will appear as your son, and who will be? Bhagavan Kapil Dev. I will appear as your son, and I will, give knowledge about the Sankhya Yoga. So Supreme Lord speaks to Kardama Rishi like this, and after speaking like this, speaking to Kardama Rishi, the Supreme Lord, who was standing on Garud's shoulder, standing in the air on the shoulder of Garud, yeah, and the Garud flew away, and the Supreme Lord disappeared from the sea. And Kardama Rishi, exactly, he did the same thing that Supreme Lord had told him. So Kardama Rishi did the same thing. He was busy. He continued with his, with his austerities. It was not as if, ab to guarantee ho gayi. Now the girl is fixed. It is not as if he stopped his penance from that. Very important point, He knew everything. The Supreme Lord had told him. Then was there any need for him to continue? Everything is done now, but he continued with his service. Yeah? He continued with his service because sometimes people ask, Prabhu, Golok, what will we do when we go back to Godhead? As if that is a holiday place, right? You perform all the austerity, and there you are sitting on a beach side, yeah, and you're just watching the waves coming, lying on the beach and things like that. That holiday thing comes into the mind. So no, that's not holiday thing. So Kardama Rishi continued with his service after 2 days. Now Manu Maharaj came there. Manu Maharaj came on the chariot with his wife and his daughter Devi. As Manu Maharaj came there, and then it is described, that place is described also. The place is called Bindu Sarovar. So it is on the bank of Mother Saraswati, but Sarovar is like a pond, lake. It's like a lake. So the lake was filled with water from Mother Saraswati. And the glories of the Bindu Sarovar is still there in Gujarat. If you go there, you can take the darshan. And what is the glory of Bindu Sarovar? Yes, Kardama Rishi performed penance there. But even greater glorification of that is, Maitreya Rishi tells, Yasmin Bhagavato, Yasmin Bhagavato Netran Na Patan Ashru Bindava. Yasmin, in that lake, Ashru Bindava, the tears from the lotus eyes of the Supreme Lord fell into that lake. That is why it became a Bindu Sarovar. Because when the Supreme Lord came on Garud, and when he saw Kardama Rishi performing such severe austerities, the Supreme Lord felt so emotional. In his heart, he felt, oh, look at my son. Look at my child. He's performing such austerity. You feel so happy when you come home, let's say, even if your children serve a meal for you on the table, you feel so happy, don't you? So same mood. The Supreme Lord, when he saw Kardama Rishi performing such an austerity, the tears rolled down from his eyes, and that's why Bindu Sarovar is so fast. So you can go, when you go to Gujarat, you must take darshan. At least take some water and put on your head, or however you want to do that. But it's there, Bindu Sarovar. Now Kardama Rishi, he welcomes Manu Maharaj, and he asks Manu Maharaj, my dear sir, how can I serve you? He knew everything. See, this is the etiquette. He knew everything. The Supreme Lord had told him everything, what is going to happen. He can see Manu Maharaj has come with his daughter and with his wife, but Kardama Rishi surrendered to him. Now Kardama Rishi is going down to him, and Manu Maharaj is also going down to him. Both are going down to each other. One is going down because he is Kshatriya, should go down to an exalted personality. An exalted personality is going down to Kshatriya because he is the ruler of the earth. There is a very nice pastime. It is recorded in His Holiness Kadam Kana Swami Maharaj's book. His Holiness Kadam Kana Swami Maharaj, he was the president of Vrindavan Temple. He was the president of Vrindavan Temple, and there was a sannyasi who would come every day at 6 a.m. and he would knock at Kadam Kana Swami Maharaj's office room. And as Maharaj opened the door, this sannyasi will go down to him. And then Kadam Kana Swami Maharaj will stand up. He said, Maharaj, what are you doing? Please don't bow down to him. And this sannyasi told him, no, but because we are all under your protection. You are the president of the ISKCON temple here, so we are under your protection. That's why we are going down to you. And at that time, Kadam Kana Swami Maharaj was not Maharaj still, but he was the president. And then this routine continued. After 2-3 days, Kadam Kana Swami Maharaj was ready. That before he bows down to me, I will bow down to him. He was ready. He would open the door, and he knows his sannyasi is coming. Before he goes down, he will bow down. Right? So that sannyasi is His Holiness Radha Govindas Goswami Maharaj.
Radha Govind Swami Maharaj ki
Jai. His Holiness Kadam Kana Swami Maharaj ki. So this is how they greet each other.
Prabhuji, your speaker is off.
Sorry, I don't know how it was. So Dhruv Maharaj wanted a planet, kingdom even greater than his great grandfather. And that's the whole purpose he went to perform that austerity. I will conclude, but this is, I just want to get this point across, right? Very important point. Dhruv Maharaj performed the austerity. Supreme Lord got pleased by his austerity and he came to see him himself. Yeah? Madhor Vanam Bhratte Dirdrikshaya Gata. He came himself to see him. And as he saw Supreme Lord in front of him, Dhruv Maharaj realized what mistake I was doing. I performed these austerities for material gain. Aho dukkham mahadukkam dukkha dukkhat taro yatha kachartha vismritam ratnam harer name harer name harer name. He says, this is the parakashta. Parakashta kya bolenge from English? This is the epitome of my foolishness. That for the broken pieces of glass, I have forgotten the diamond, greatest jewel, which is the devotional service to the Supreme Lord. He said, I worship the Supreme Lord for material gain. I should have worshipped him. I should have performed this austerity to perform devotional service, to get his favor, to get his love. Instead, I performed that austerity to get the kingdom greater than my great grandfather. But then what happened? Not only he got a kingdom, actually first he got the devotional service. He got the devotional service, he got the darshan of the Supreme Lord. But the Supreme Lord did not stop there. He still gave him a kingdom greater than his great grandfather. That is the promise, that is the guarantee or challenge of the Supreme Lord. He will still fulfill your desire, even if you change your mind. Dhruv Maharaj changed his mind, he lamented, but the Supreme Lord said, no. वो बोलेंगे भगवान, the Supreme Lord, shortchanged him. He performed that austerity. He said, okay, I will give you this, but in addition, I will also give you my devotional service. And just today's verse, if you are reading Bhagavatam verse, that one verse is coming every day in our book. Today's verse. The planet that he got. Now Maitreya Rishi again continues in the 4th canto. So Maitreya Rishi is telling Vidurji, you go and read this verse and read the purport. Srila Prabhupada very nicely describes. He says the planet that Dhruv Maharaj has got. Prabhupada says that all these planets, Prabhuji Mataji, all these planets, they are revolving in their orbits. They are revolving in their own orbits. But while revolving in their own orbits, all of these planets are revolving around Dhruv planet, keeping Dhruv planet on its right hand side. And his planet is beyond Brahmaji's planet. Beyond Brahmaji's planet. Yes. Yeah. So all these planets, they are revolving around that. This is go and read today's verse. So the Supreme Lord is saying, just for us to understand where Brahma's position is, it is bewildering for us to understand how Brahma Lok is. This is beyond us. But then Dhruv planet's position is even beyond that. But because he performed devotional service to the Supreme Lord did not disappoint him. Right? He did not disappoint him. And then he says, the analogy, he says, like in a village, if you see a group of bulls, they are revolving around a pole. Gavam Gana. Gavam as in bulls. Gana as in group of bulls, a herd of bulls. Meedayam iva Gavam Gana. Meedayam as in pole. So like that, all these planets, they are revolving around Dhruv planet. And how they are revolving? Gambhir Vego Animisham. Animisham is without any blink. Nimish as in blink. Animisham without any blink, without any unease, without any ease. They don't stop. They got such a great respect for Dhruv planet that without any break, they are revolving around Dhruv planet all the time. Gambhir Vego Animisham. Yasmin Bhramit Kaurabhya. O Shatta. Maitre Rishi is telling Vidurji, O descendant of Kuru Vansh, Yasmin, to that planet, to that Dhruv planet, around that Dhruv planet, or keeping the Dhruv planet on its right hand side, all these planets are revolving around that. How? In what way? Like the bull, group of bulls revolve around a pole in a village. Like this, all of these are revolving around that. So the point is, if you perform devotional service, no matter with what mood you perform, those desires will be granted. This is the word of the Supreme Lord. Navai jatu mrishaiva syat prajadhyaksha mad arhanam bhavad vidheshvati taram mai samkrabhit atmana. Okay, let's stop. ग्रंथा श्रीमद्-भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, गौर प्रेमानंदे श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. Okay, Kavita Mataji, Varun Prabhuji, thank you for your association. We will stop here now and we will.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.